Hey, curious minds! Welcome back to Synaptic Spectrum. Today we're delving into the fascinating realm of psychology with 10 mind-blowing psychological facts explained. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community for more mind-expanding content. Now let's unravel the mysteries of the mind. Ever wondered why body language is so crucial? It turns out our brains are wired to interpret nonverbal cues. From a simple handshake to posture, our body speaks volumes. It's a universal language of its own. Facial expressions, gestures, and body movements are powerful indicators of our emotional state. They can reveal joy, sadness, surprise, anger, or discomfort without uttering a single word. Standing tall with an open posture exudes confidence, while slouching or closed body language may convey insecurity. Maintaining eye contact also plays a significant role in projecting confidence and attentiveness. Have you ever felt that uncomfortable feeling when your beliefs clash? That's cognitive dissonance at play. Our brains strive for consistency, and when faced with conflicting ideas, it can lead to some interesting mental gymnastics. Cognitive dissonance is like having two ideas in your head that just don't get along. It's that feeling of discomfort when your thoughts or beliefs don't match up. Imagine you believe two things that don't agree, like saying you care about the environment, but then regularly using single-use plastic. That clash makes you feel a bit weird, kind of like having a tiny argument inside your head. To get rid of that weird feeling, your brain wants to fix the disagreement. It might change one of the beliefs or find a way to make them fit together. Sometimes, to dodge the awkwardness, you might avoid situations that remind you of the clash. Like if you're into fitness but just had a big slice of cake, you might avoid the gym for a bit. When you have to make decisions, especially ones that clash with your beliefs, that discomfort can push you to make choices that help you feel better about what you believe. Ever buy something and then feel the need to convince yourself it was a good purchase? That's marketers using cognitive dissonance. They want you to feel good about what you bought. Sometimes feeling this clash can actually be a good thing. It can push you to grow and rethink your beliefs, helping you become a better version of yourself. So, cognitive dissonance is like your brain saying, "Hey, let's make sure our beliefs match up to avoid feeling awkward." It's a natural part of being human and figuring out what you really believe in. Ever learned a new word and suddenly started seeing it everywhere? That's the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, where your brain starts noticing things it didn't before. It's like a mental highlighter. Imagine you learn a new word, let's say elephant. Suddenly, you start seeing elephants all over the place, on TV, in books, maybe even in your neighbor's garden. Not really, but you get the idea. Here's why. You discover a cool new word or fact. Your brain says, "Neat." Your brain thinks, "This is interesting," and starts shining a spotlight on it. Spotting everywhere. Now you see elephant in a book, on a cereal box, and even hear it on the radio. It's like it's following you. It's not magic. Your brain just turned on a special filter, and now it's highlighting elephant wherever it appears. This trick is called selective attention. Your brain focuses on what it finds interesting. So the word was always around, now you just notice it more. Even though it feels like a big coincidence, it's more about your brain being curious. It's like your brain saying, "Hey, look at this cool thing we just learned." So, if you ever learn something new and start seeing it everywhere, don't worry. It's just your brain having a little adventure. Enjoy the discovery. In a nutshell, the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon is your brain turning on a special spotlight for things you just learned, making them seem like they're everywhere you look. First impressions matter more than we think. The halo effect influences how we perceive someone based on a single trait. It's a cognitive shortcut that can shape our judgments. Imagine meeting someone really nice. They smile, and you instantly think they're awesome. Well, that's the halo effect. A bit like putting on rosy glasses that make everything seem fantastic. Here's the simple version. You meet someone friendly, and your brain goes, "This person is great." That friendliness activates the halo effect. It's like a halo above their head, making everything about them look amazing. Now you start thinking they're not just friendly, they're probably super smart, funny, and maybe even the best juggler in town. The halo effect spreads positive vibes to everything about them. Here's the tricky part. You might miss their not-so-great qualities because the initial friendliness creates a halo that hides any negatives. This effect isn't just for people. It happens in different situations, at school, work, or even when watching a movie. If one thing is likable, we tend to think everything is great. The halo effect can affect decisions, like hiring someone just because they're charming. It can also impact how we see products or companies associated with something positive. Being aware of the halo effect is like taking off those rosy glasses. It helps us see people and things more clearly, knowing everyone has good and not so good sides. While first impressions matter, it's important to balance our judgments. People are complex, and the halo effect is just a little quirk in how our brains work. In short, the halo effect is like your brain saying, "I like this one thing about you, so I'll assume everything else is just as awesome." It's a friendly bias that reminds us to keep our judgments balanced. The Zeigarnik Effect is like having a mental to-do list that nags at you until it's complete. When something is left unfinished, your brain can't help but keep it in the spotlight. Ever find yourself unable to forget an unfinished task? That's the Zeigarnik Effect in action. Our brains seem to remember incomplete tasks more than completed ones, urging us to seek closure. Imagine starting a jigsaw puzzle but leaving it incomplete. The Zeigarnik Effect is like mental sticky notes your brain creates, saying, "Don't forget about that puzzle!" The Zeigarnik Effect is your brain's way of keeping track of things you've started but haven't completed. It's like a mental to-do list. Unfinished tasks become attention magnets. They keep popping up in your thoughts, making it hard to forget about them until you go back and finish what you started. It's not just about puzzles. This happens with everyday tasks too. Ever start writing an email but not send it? Your brain keeps reminding you, saying, "You've got something unfinished." Oddly enough, your memory is better for things you started but didn't finish. Your brain seems to pay extra attention to the details of incomplete tasks. Some people use the Zeigarnik Effect on purpose. They intentionally leave tasks partially done to create that mental pull, making them more likely to come back and finish. Finishing a task is like releasing built-up tension. Once you complete something, your brain gives a little mental nod, and that nagging feeling eases. The Zeigarnik Effect was first noticed in a restaurant. Waiters remembered incomplete orders better than completed ones. It's like interruptions trigger this mental sticky note system. In a nutshell, the Zeigarnik Effect is your brain saying, "Hey, we've got some loose ends to tie up." It's why unfinished tasks stick around in your thoughts until you give them that satisfying checkmark of completion. The mind's power to heal itself is truly astounding. The placebo effect shows that belief in a treatment's effectiveness can lead to real physiological changes. It's a testament to the mind-body connection. Ever heard of feeling better just by thinking you took medicine? That's the placebo effect, where your brain's belief in a treatment makes you feel improved, even if the treatment is just pretend. Picture this. You take a sugar pill thinking it's powerful medicine. Surprisingly, your symptoms get better, even though the pill is just sugar, no real medicine. The placebo effect shows how amazing your mind is. Believing in the fake medicine can make real changes happen in your body. Your brain and body are like texting buddies. When you believe you're getting better, your brain sends messages to your body, releasing natural chemicals that can ease pain or lift your mood. It's not only about pills. Placebos can be fake surgeries or treatments. The key is believing in their power. Scientists use placebos in studies to see how effective a real treatment is. They compare the effects of the actual treatment with those who believe they're getting treated but are getting a placebo. The placebo effect shows how thinking positively can help your body. It's like your brain saying, "I've got your back! I can make you feel better!" Using placebos without telling people is a no-no. Being truthful is important in medical treatments. Not everyone responds the same way to placebos. Some people are more likely to feel better because they believe in the treatment. The placebo effect teaches us that thinking positively is like a superpower in getting better. It's not about fooling yourself, but understanding that your mind plays a big role in healing. So, the placebo effect is like your brain saying, I believe this will help, so I'll make it happen. It's a reminder of how incredible your mind is in making your body feel better. We all like to feel in control, but did you know that sometimes we perceive control even when it doesn't exist? It's the illusion of control, a fascinating aspect of human cognition. Imagine you're at the movies, and you get to pick your seat. You might believe that where you sit influences your movie experience. You carefully choose a seat, thinking it will make the movie more enjoyable. Now, the illusion of control is at play here. While it's true that your choice might affect your comfort, like having a good view or being closer to the exit, the illusion is thinking that your seat choice can somehow influence the quality of the movie itself. In reality, the movie's content and how much you enjoy it are not controlled by your seat selection. Yet, the act of choosing and believing it matters enhances your feeling of control over the entire movie-watching experience. It's a small, harmless illusion that adds a sense of personal influence to the situation. Let's take a look at another example. Imagine you're holding a fake steering wheel. Even though it doesn't do anything, it makes you feel like you're driving, thinking you're in charge. The illusion of control is when we believe we're more in control than we actually are. It's like thinking that pretend steering wheel can really steer the car. It happens in everyday stuff, like believing picking specific lottery numbers gives you control, even though it's mostly luck. Feeling in control can be calming. When things are uncertain, thinking we have some control makes us feel better. Ever think your lucky socks will help your team win? That's the illusion. The socks don't decide, but believing they do boosts confidence. It's important to know when it's just a feeling. Understanding what we really control helps us make smarter choices. The illusion is like a mental superhero. It helps us handle a world full of unknowns by making things seem more predictable. Feeling in control is cool, as long as we also know what's real. Balancing confidence with reality is the trick. In simple terms, the illusion of control is like your brain saying, I'm the captain, even when it's more about feeling in charge than actually steering the ship. It's a quirky way our minds handle the idea of control. Selective attention is like a mental spotlight, focusing on specific things while tuning out the rest. It's the reason you can hear your name in a crowded room. Imagine your attention is like a spotlight. It can't light up everything at once. Selective attention is your brain deciding what to shine that spotlight on. Your attention is like a spotlight. You get to point it where you want, and it helps you focus. It's like choosing what's important. It lets you pay attention to what matters while ignoring the background stuff. Ever heard your name at a noisy party? That's selective attention. Your brain filters out the noise, but turns the spotlight on when something important, like your name, pops up. With tons of info around, your brain can't handle everything. Selective attention acts as a filter, letting in only the things you choose. It's not just about what you see. Selective attention works for sounds too, like hearing your favorite song in a crowded place. When you're reading, it helps you focus on words, not the texture of the paper. Selective attention guides your focus to make things clear. Imagine driving. You focus on the road, signs, and signals. Selective attention helps you pay attention to what matters while ignoring less important stuff. While it's powerful, multitasking can be tricky. It's like trying to shine your spotlight on too many things at once, and you end up not focusing well. What you pay attention to often sticks in your memory. Selective attention decides what's worth remembering by focusing on certain things. Your brain can't handle too much at once. Selective attention helps by focusing on what's important at the moment. In simple terms, selective attention is like your brain saying, let's look at this right now. It's your spotlight, guiding you in a world full of information. Imagine thinking you're really good at something when, in reality, you're not. That's the Dunning-Kruger Effect, a fancy way of saying sometimes we're not great at judging our own skills. Dunning-Kruger is about people who aren't great at something but feel super confident. It's like thinking you're an amazing chef when you can barely boil water. It's a bit like having a blind spot. You might not realize you're not good at something because you don't know what you don't know. On the flip side, if you're really good at something, you might think it's easy for everyone else too. So experts might undervalue what they know. Psychologists found this effect. They noticed that people who were the least skilled often thought they were way better than they actually were. It's like a double whammy, not good at something and not realizing you're not good at it. Ouch! As you learn more, you usually get more humble. It's like realizing there's a whole world of things you don't know. This effect can mess with teamwork. Imagine someone not great at their job, but thinking they're a superstar. It can cause issues. Education and feedback are the superheroes here. Learning more and getting constructive feedback help burst the overconfidence bubble. Recognizing the Dunning-Kruger effect is part of growing up. The more you know, the better you get at knowing what you're good at and what needs work. It's cool to be confident, but mixing it with a realistic view of your skills is the key. Everyone has things to learn, and that's totally okay. So, the Dunning-Kruger effect is like thinking you're a rock star in a game when you're still figuring out the controls. It's a reminder to stay humble and open to learning. The Tetris Effect is like having game pieces on the brain even after you've put the controller down. It's a fascinating phenomenon where an activity influences your thoughts and dreams. After playing a game, like Tetris, your brain doesn't just forget it. It's like the game pieces keep playing in your head, even when you're doing something else. It's not just remembering the game. You might see shapes falling and fitting together in your mind, like a visual echo of the game. Even things around you might start looking like Tetris pieces. A stack of books or buildings might trigger thoughts of how Tetris blocks could fit. The Tetris effect can even sneak into your dreams. You might find yourself dreaming about arranging and fitting shapes as if the game is playing in your sleep. Some people see it as a good thing, like your brain is practicing and getting better at figuring out patterns. It's not only about games. If you spend a lot of time doing something repetitive, your brain might keep thinking about it, even when you're not doing it. The Tetris effect is like your brain having its own playlist, replaying the patterns and actions it enjoyed during the game. It's connected to how our brains learn and adapt. The more you engage in a task, the more it leaves a mark in your thoughts. Luckily, it's usually temporary. As you do different things, the game visuals in your mind start to fade away. So, the Tetris effect is like your brain saying, "Let's keep playing," even when you've stopped. It's a playful way your mind holds onto the patterns it enjoyed. And that's a wrap on our adventure into the fascinating world of psychology with 10 mind-blowing psychological facts explained. We explored why we feel in control, even when we might not be, how our brains choose what to focus on with selective attention, and the fun lingering of game visuals in the Tetris effect. From the Dunning-Kruger effect's confidence quirks to the halo effect's rosy tint on perceptions, we've touched on the incredible tapestry of the human mind. As we conclude, remember the mind's marvels are endless, and this is just the beginning. Stay curious, stay connected, and stay tuned for more psychological revelations. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of your own mind with us.